Now, last episode, we ended up kind of finishing up, for the most part, our rail system and giving ourselves a nice foundation for which to build on. And I ended up building a beautiful looking, in my opinion, one of the nicest trains I've ever built, Union Pacific style train, even though there is some more that I kind of want to do to it. For example, adding the engine here also to the back, because that's how I usually seen them growing up. They either had two in the front, or two in the front, one in the back, one in the back. They were always double-ended, which is kind of cool. But anyways, that's besides the point. Today, I want to make some little farms along the rail track. And this is going to be a very long-term process. Like, this is going to take some time to do. But today, I would at least like to get started on where I want to develop my first farm. And that is going to be a dirt processing facility. Yeah, you heard me right. Dirt processing. It's exactly what you think it's going to be. I want to be able to make coarse dirt. I want to be able to make regular dirt. I want to be able to make mud products and also be able to make rooted dirt, all from one central factory. And so I tell you what, my skin is now becoming more and more meta because this is going to be one dirty factory. Now, this factory, I kind of have planned to take up this area right here, this straight section that also curves. So this is going to have an area that wraps around here, is also going to take up some of this, because I want to use this nice straightaway here to create a overhang. And this is where our sending and receiving of certain dirt products are going to take place. So that way we can ship them in other places. So now with this being over here, it causes a bit of a problem. How am I going to get power from my main base? Well, technically from Beardy's base to my base to now this location. I think I'm going to have to utilize the rail system itself. And I have a cool idea for this. What I'm thinking is this center part, at least of my train tracks, I want the chains to be coming out of there and running along the center. And what I want to try to do is send my power via the chains all the way out there. So what I'm thinking is I could go ahead and start my network right here. So we already have the chain set up on here, but what I could do, I could anchor this down and run some cables over here, and I want it to be basically at this level right here. Now, unfortunately, I can't do too much with speed controllers because this is all connected to basically one power central network, and having multiple speed controllers can end up causing a little bit of problems. So I'm going to try to not do that, and it is going to cost a little bit of SU, but thankfully we are producing quite a bit, or at least Beardy's producing quite a bit. Now, I do have a plan for trying to make these chains look okay as we go into these locations, but for example, right here in the middle, I don't think there's going to be anything located here. And the cool thing is with these, they can go completely underground, so you could have completely hidden cable networks. So long as you're not running packages. I mean, the packages will go through the ground. It is just kind of weird looking, but look at this. That is now connected, and it is going straight through the ground. Look at that. So now what I want to do is I want to run this all the way over here into the center point. And then I'll use this to also get it going straight down here. Now this will be fantastic if I get this working. Let's see, will this reach all the way up to this? I am going to be basically bringing it up ever so slightly through these blocks, but no clipping will happen until this point. Will it work? Oh yes, they have this extended quite a bit. Oh, and I love this. So now what we're going to do is every so many blocks, or at least till I get the range, yeah, we can extend this. By the way, a nice little trick. If you click this with some chains, it will hold that setting. And then what you can do to kind of see how far you can go, you can place it down, see if that'll connect, and just continue on, pick it back up, and see how far you can take this before you can't take it any further. I think that is a fantastic method for figuring out how far you can extend these. And I tell you what, you can extend them quite far. I can extend this all the way over here. Oh my goodness. Now I'm trying my best to decorate them where they reside, and all the way over here too, I'm going to get them connected. Now, something I am noticing, it's not spinning even though it is connected. So I'm wondering if they don't work if they're not chunk loaded. I wonder. Huh. Or maybe it's just a visual thing because they are running, and it is running now. It just wasn't. I had to go back. I'm wondering if it will stay loaded. I really hope it does, because if not, it completely breaks this whole setup. But anyways, right here on this curve, I think I can get this sort of lined up just like that. Might have to push this back one more. It is nice that you get this outline that kind of shows roughly the position this is going to be in. So to connect up the power that we're going to use for this factory right here, perfect. All right, so this, I just need to have it like go straight through this area. That way we'll have ourselves some power, and then I'll just run this up through the bottom of the factory. Now I already got the trucks moved over, but now I've got to clear out this landmass that's behind me, because the main part is actually going to extend right about here, because this is where the actual straight line ends. And I really want this factory to reside mostly within the straight line section of the track. It's really hard to handle these curves. And whenever you try to do like depositing of items and things like that, it doesn't work out so well getting your kissy machines to connect up properly. And so this comes with a little bit of a time lapse. It's going to be a short one though. Now, after that time lapse, which by the way, let me know guys, do you enjoy these little time lapse snippets? Like, is this something you enjoy watching? Like, is it satisfying? I know it's satisfying for me, at least to watch back when I'm editing, but I would really love to hear from you. Let me know down in the comments below. Now back to the task at hand. I think what I want to start with for this build is getting the actual train connection part up and running first. Now, I don't know how big I'm going to want this factory. It's really hard to plan this ahead of time without doing it all in creative, and you know, that's just not my style. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and match the same height as our train station. So that is about 2 blocks up, and then there is a block gap between the track. And then what we do is it looks like just basically put one of these steps on here and then line that whole section. So this whole section can be attached to the train, or train track. And I think this is going to be a great starting point. And I've already kind of figured out the block palette, at least for the top part. And the block palette is just going to be the stone mixture that I've been kind of using throughout. So we're going to have a bit of stone, a bit of andesite and polished andesite mixed in. So turning on the shuffle mod, I'm going to go ahead and start branching this out. I think I want this to be about 3 blocks. And I want it to start 1 block away from where our train or chain setup is. And this chain setup, I'm going to just route into the building, and the building is going to cover this area. And there's also probably going to be some farms that potentially happen in this area as well, because I'm also going to need eventually some sort of bone meal farm. And I think this area could be a really good spot for a lot of sugarcane. Now, you also may be wondering, Chosen, how are you going to handle chunk loading out in these areas? Well, eventually we will get to that. There actually is a vanilla way we can solve this very problem, and it's something we'll talk about in the future. And I also kind of want to ask everyone else on the server how comfortable they are with vanilla chunk loaders. But until we have that conversation, I'm going to probably not use them, at least just yet. Now, like I was saying, about 3 blocks out is like the platform size, or at least I think that's where I want the platform size to be. I don't want it to be super large. Like, I don't want it to be the same size as the train yard. There's not going to be people crossing this too much. It's going to kind of more or less be more like a porch. That is going to allow like channels from within the building itself to transport items in and out through here. Oh, and like I said, I still don't know how long I'm actually going to want this thing. I still might have to clear out some land. But for right now, we'll consider this space right here the wall, and we'll also consider that wall to potentially be 3 thick. That way we can maybe add some pillars. And so that means that this section right here is where I'm going to actually have interior space that I'm going to be able to work with. And you know what? I'm thinking about 21 blocks is a pretty good number. I think that's going to give me plenty of space to sort of mess about. And when I'm thinking about these builds, by the way, I'm kind of looking at it from a perspective of make it bigger than I actually think I'm going to need, because I always end up making it too small if I don't. Building tips with Chosen. Now this is what the main floor is going to look like, and just like our big mall that I ended up setting up, once I have some things laid out on the ground, that's when I'll add some tuff in here to give it like dirty looks underneath those machines. Now I'm trying to sort of formulate the ideas in my head here of how I want this factory to work, and we are going to need a cobblestone generator because we need gravel, a constant supply of gravel to be able to generate coarse dirt. And I'm also going to have to figure out a way to constantly craft coarse dirt and then convert that back into dirt and then recycle. I'm not sure how recursive crafting actually works with the create setup. because most mods do not handle recursive crafting very well. What I mean by recursive crafting, that is when you are requesting something that then has to be used in the process of making more of itself. That's when it becomes recursive. And so logically, what could happen in the setup if we try to use the packages is it's going to try and request dirt when it runs out, but it's going to need to use dirt to be able to generate more dirt. And whenever it does that, what it's going to do is it'll pull the dirt out and then it will force another request because it's even lower. Possibly, that's how I'm thinking in my head it would work. So I kind of want to keep this on its own separate network before we use the dirt with frog ports to be able to route it around correctly. And I think creating a dirt generator shouldn't be that difficult. And so to get the cobble gen up and running, just go ahead and place down the chain conveyors, get them linked up. I know they're floating in the air for right now. Decorations will happen after the fact. We got to get the primary thing up and running first. And voila, we now have our cobblestone gen, and we don't need anything major for this, just to generate a nice constant supply of cobble, yes, but gravel mostly. So with just a few steps, there and there, we now have ourselves, well, a gravel generator. So now that's one part of the problem solved. Now we've got to figure out how to actually get the crafter itself to do the crafting part. And I kind of want to use this crafter. This is the vanilla new crafter. And I did find if I set the recipe in here and I use funnels, it will keep this in stock, but we run into a problem. If this runs out, then it's going to be a little bit harder for us to determine the actual insertion order to be able to make sure that the recipe spats out coarse dirt here. So I think this is going to involve a little bit of redstone magic. And there are some interesting things that we can use a comparator for in this particular case. Right here, we get a power of 1 if one item is on here. If we do a half stack, then we get a power signal of 8. So yes, we do have the ability to use the depot to actually determine specific values, which we could use to trigger that crafter. But now here's what I'm thinking. We keep this filled with dirt, and what we do is this is going to craft from 2 dirt and 2 gravel, which gravel will be in constant supply. We'll have this craft 4. And then this coarse dirt then needs to be processed into regular dirt. What we'll then do is we will split that stack that it generates, and we'll only accept it after a stack has then been fully processed. And what we'll do is we'll make sure and send exactly 32 on this platform. Now, this is where things get a little bit difficult. I think what we're going to have to do is send the 32 into an inventory, and then we need to fill this depot from that inventory only 2 at a time. And the reason I want 2 at a time is so that way I could trigger the crafter from the redstone signal. Whenever 2 is deposited on here, it will then force a craft to happen, and it'll allow us to keep this fully in stock. So once that 2 has gone in, it will trigger. This will then go into the crafter. The redstone signal will turn off. And then if there are 2 more available, it will go on there and the cycle will repeat. I think that'll be a good way to do this, and we can use some wireless redstone to trigger that from the comparator. Now, when using these crafters, you can actually click these sections here to remove these slots. Pretty neat that we have this in vanilla Minecraft now. Like, this is a pretty cool thing. But Create makes it a whole lot easier to manage. Now I'm going to use an item drain to send that out. That's going to nice and load the depot, so the gravel should be in constant supply. Ooh, but I am noticing a little bit of a problem here. So I'm not noticing the signal dropping at all whenever the dirt is removed off of here. But I think I've come up with another solution. See, the Smart Observer has a neat little trick, a neat little feature where it can actually detect and send a redstone pulse when items are inserted or pulled out via the funnel. So it can detect that change in the funnel. And what I can do is I can go ahead and I can say, hey, give it a little redstone signal when you do that. And it'll give the crafter a redstone signal. So if this basically has done a craft, it will always have this available for it. So that means anytime that stuff goes through here, it should always be crafting, and we shouldn't ever end up with a situation where it won't send a pulse. I think this is actually going to work out really well. So how do we test this? Well, all we have to do is give it some dirt just to kind of test. And look at that. It is automatically doing the craft. That is fantastic. And so long as our gravel is in supply, this is going to work. Now, something to not forget, the crafter can actually insert directly into inventories as well. Now for the complicated logistics. So I'm going to be pulling out of this container, which is going to contain the coarse dirt. And once the coarse dirt goes in here, I then want to send it along this path and then into not a barrel, but actually a contraption interface. That's right, because I plan on using a spinning contraption, believe it or not, for handling the processing of the dirt. I think this is going to work really well. So after grabbing the resources, let's now exchange this barrel here. And instead, what we're going to do is we are going to place in here the storage interface. So yeah, I did mention how I wanted to essentially use a contraption to do the conversion. So we are going to be converting the coarse dirt into regular dirt. So essentially, we're taking 2 dirt and we're making 4 dirt out of that total. At the cost of gravel, of course. Now, normally you'd have to use a hoe to convert it into farmland, but instead we can just use a plow to do this. And yeah, we could also use a drill and maybe some deployers to place the things in. Now, we do want to make sure on our deployers that they are 1 block gap away from where we want to place them. So they're going to place them right on top of the stone and andesite here. And we do need to filter this specifically because inside of this inventory is going to contain not only coarse dirt, but also regular dirt, which we're going to have to filter out. Now, I like my things to rotate clockwise. So after the dirt is placed, the next step is to then run plows directly over the top of all of this. And I want them all to be on the exact same level. So I'm going to place the plows here right now. I'm going to put some trap doors on the back here to give it some supports. But I do want it on the exact same level. You can see right here is where this level is where the dirt's going to go. The plow will run over top of that and we'll convert it into farmland. And then right after that, we want down here, one more step down, we want our 2 drills. And the drills are what's going to break the dirt and it's going to be what converts everything. Now, everything's glued together. I do want to tap this contraption into the main network for the power. To do this, I am going to need to use a rotational speed controller because I don't want to make this too fast, but I also don't want to make it too slow, and using a water wheel is just going to be too slow. Now, I think we should be fine doing this. I know I mentioned earlier that there could be some weird things when having multiple speed controllers, but I think if it's on an outgoing network, it shouldn't do anything. So long as we don't put any power generation on this side of the gearbox, I think we should be fine. So I'm gonna tap it in. Now this automatically kicked on, which is fine. It's fine to constantly be running. We're not gonna have to worry about anything right now, except for the fact that my rotation is wrong. But to fix that, there we go. We have a gearbox. Make sure we get out of here before getting crushed by the drills. And then we want to come over here because this is where things get interesting. I can kind of make do with speeding this up to 32. It is okay fast. 64 RPM is a really, really good speed. This will work, but the problem is the interface here. You'll have times where it spins around and it doesn't contact the interface, even if there are items sitting on the belt ready to go inside of it. So I really got to pick my poison. I think for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set it to 32 and we'll see how that goes. I can always increase it later. So now let's talk more logistics. Yes, we need to insert items in. So this should be pretty fine, just allowing any of the coarse dirt to go inside here. That's going to work out just fine. Now, we do have to, however, filter what goes in here and filter exactly how much actually comes out of the machine. So I only want regular dirt to come out of here, and I actually want it to be exactly 64. The way we're going to set this up is I need it to be 64, so that way we can have a brass tunnel right here that splits this evenly. And we need it to split very, very specifically. So we place the dirt filter in, and then I need to place on the outside here. Actually, I don't think I need to do dirt filter. I need to place a weighted ejector that's sending to a location. And as soon as I have the weighted ejector here, then we're going to get some options. So let's give this a nice location to go to. So I'm going to place down a few like this, and we'll just place a chest. Just like so. So this chest is where my dirt is ultimately going to end up, and I'm probably going to store this in a vault later on. But we need a weighted ejector to shoot the contents into here. So I'm going to use a funnel, making sure the funnel is facing the opposite direction. And funnels can accept a stack at a time. So this will be more than fine since we're only sending 32. And let's see, weighted ejector will tell it, hey, make sure you go right in here. Let's see. I should be able to shift right click with it. Yes, shift right click. I set its location, and then I place this here. This is where those new options come up, and we have split, forced split, round robin. We definitely want forced split. We want it to split that stack exactly. And then on here, we want this to be set to 32. That's its accept size. So it should accept 32 items, and then 32 more items are going to go into this barrel, which is then going to continue this looping process. Now, because this is a loop, we do want to make sure we are voiding the contents. Yeah, and I know this may seem like a strange concept, but yes, voiding is something you definitely want to do when you have unlimited amounts of things coming in. And for this system to work, we are going to need to void. So I'm going to make sure and flip this, and that should void all of the dirt that goes inside there. And I can specify dirt. It's not that big of a deal. I don't think I'm going to have to, but there we go. It's specified anyways. Dirt is also on here. And this is where we'll set our threshold. For right now, I'll just do set it to stacks, and I will say I want it to shut off if there's more than half of the container. It'll probably end up dumping like 2 stacks technically. So we'll put this right under 27, so 26, and this will be 27. We'll invert that so that way it locks this system, and then it will unlock whenever it gets up to 27, and then relock when it gets back to 26. So now that we have that, it's going to drop that into the lava for now. I'll probably make a much nicer version of this soon, but this is definitely for testing. So now the entire system should be able to be kickstarted by simply throwing in 32 dirt into this right here. And what should happen is this will continue to craft up, okay, until we end up with this. I do probably want to make sure this is stackable to 64. But actually, it doesn't seem like that is 100% a problem either. Okay, and then this is loading over here. Seems to be working just fine. 64 should be a good number for that. Making sure it stays there. As this next run should produce 64 total. But there's all of the dirt going in, and we won't get out any dirt until this is exactly 64, in which it will then split. But notice, by the way, that's a pretty decent speed. It's not super bad. And it is converting all of it 100% into dirt. This is perfect. Like, this is exactly what I want to see happen. All right, so that is done. Okay, it just sent that to then be sent along. And then the process should loop again. And then once this is done sending, there is a full stack this time. That should accept, and eventually it will take it in. There's that problem where I said sometimes it doesn't want to accept. So it takes a moment. But there it goes. It finally took it. And then the whole process starts again. Ow. Jumped on the thing. But there it goes. We are now getting dirty. Oh, this is beautiful. And I tell you what, the power of contraptions, it's hilarious. Now, I have a dirt in here. That first run, it should have granted me some dirt. I'm not quite sure why I didn't get any dirt or why there is a single dirt left in here. That is a little bit concerning because I don't want this loop to get done in an odd way. That seems to be working. That should be working as well. That split stack didn't shoot. Why? There is only one dirt on here. Okay. Do we have to make sure that the split stack is separate? Maybe I set this to 0 and then it will split. Maybe it's got some issues. If I set it to just regular split mode, maybe that will work. Oh man, I really hope this works. I'm going to make sure to put dirt on both of these sides. So I honestly am starting to think that the weighted ejector in this version is 100% bug. I do not remember it working that way. This value, if it's set to nothing, should eject no matter what's on there. And this should be able to split the amount. So as of right now, it's only sending one in. So one, it's just splitting one off. And that's not what we want. This should evenly divide. And it's set onto 4 split. And it's leaving us with not the right amount. If I was to exchange this, I think with a depot, we'll be able to see how it's supposed to be splitting. So for example, if I put a depot down here, this is still in split mode, and I throw a stack in, we should expect 32 to end up out on the depot. Oh, that is if I put the filter in, that is. So let's try that again. We'll pick that up, toss this onto this belt, and that evenly splits. And we have 32 in there. That's exactly what we needed to see. And then on this side, we have 3. No, that's not right. I think my amounts are a little janked here. It is 32 going in here, and technically 32 on this side. So I'm wondering, to solve this issue, I might be able to use a item drain and then lead it into a weighted ejector. Seems like a weird thing to need to do, but for right now, until this potential bug gets fixed, which I'm going to check and see if it needs to be reported. Yeah, we'll go for this. I don't know, maybe you can let me know down in the comments below. Am I wrong? Is this how it's supposed to be? I'm not sure. Anyways, let's split this. This is empty. It should end up with 32 if this works. Drop it in. Also make sure that we place the filter for the dirt in. Here I go again. Keep forgetting that I have this. I don't think it's necessarily needed, but there we go. And there we go. See, now it works. It's definitely a bug. And see, the reason I think it's a bug is because that's how the andesite funnel is supposed to work. It always splits 1 off of the original stack. And I know I just said funnel, I meant tunnel. These are tunnels, not funnels. Okay, so now to get it started, let's throw the 32 in here. That will get the whole party started again. And that should ramp up and be what we need. So after letting this run for a little while just to make sure that it didn't have any kinks, this is running just as I would expect. So we even have like some setting here I did throw in where I technically have about 2 stacks constantly running, which has me wondering, I bet this would be twice as fast if I would literally just take this behind me and just double it up. Like if I just doubled it up and added another one stacking, or even triple or quadruple, like this would be significantly faster, 4 times faster if I did it, 4 times. But that's probably going to have to wait till another episode, because while I was gathering a few items, well, something crazy happened.
Chosen.
Oh, look at that tree.
Chosen, there's
What?
a man.
Really nice tree.
A man?
There's a man.
Who?
There's a man.
A
Hello.
man?
Yeah, that's
You
what we're
just
trying
come
to
up
figure
here.
out.
You
It's
can't
not
just
clearly.
you can't just come up here and say there's a man. Like what?
There's a
What
man.
do
That's
you
what
mean
Foxy
there's a
said.
man?
There is a
That's
man.
what Foxy
I
said.
saw
A
it.
man?
A man.
Oh
my
Or
God.
a package. It could be one of both.
Okay.
Look, there he is.
What is
Yeah, look,
that?
There he is. He's jumping around down there.
Oh my goodness, you've been building. Wait.
Wait, I know that guy.
He was cardboard and now he's a man.
Let's go confront him.
I know
Confrontation!
that guy.
You go first.
I think I know that guy.
There was actually a man. It wasn't just
Man.
a rogue
Who
cardboard
keeps
box.
letting random people in here? What are you?
Poke
How?
him with your
Where did you
extendo
get this
grip.
ship, Foxy?
See if he's real. What ship?
Where did you
Oh,
get
the
this
ship.
thing?
The ship we're standing on.
Yeah,
You know,
where did
that
you
one
get it?
together.
He's
Had a
definitely
spare
real.
5 minutes.
Wait,
Yeah,
he's
but-
not a ghost. Can we poke him? Oh yeah, we
Oh
can
my
poke
goodness.
him. Okay.
You must
him,
have
Ed, get him.
you import this
Where
from
did you
another
come from?
world
What,
and then
what do you want? Like
brought this guy
this
in here.
or
Well,
or that?
Yeah, that
on
one.
You can
That one.
choose.
Get him. Shoot him off
That
my
one?
boat.
No,
No way, man.
no.
On
I
my
bought a
boat.
ticket.
Wait, no.
Your boat.
Whoa!
I bought a ticket to be here.
What?
From who?
Chosen, have you been handing out things again?
I was not. I don't think.
Are you?
You didn't
sure?
sell your soul, did you?
Not yet. He
No,
isn't
no.
yet.
This was
Don't tell him about that.
Get him, Mr. Beardstone. Get him.
I don't know.
No. I've checked him. He's already real. We know that.
Is he nice, though?
I don't know.
Well,
What,
I'm,
you-
I just did get hit 2 or 3 times, and I haven't done a thing yet. So
And you're not
Wait,
dead
I was
either.
just
This is very
testing if you were a
disturbing. I
ghost.
just...
Oh, I'd run.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, it's fine. I mean, you say you bought a ticket to get here. I mean, my question is, how did
Yeah.
the boat get here? It's
Yeah,
literally
that's also my
it's in a
question.
lake. Like,
That's what
where
I'm
did this
thinking.
come from?
I
That's a question
made
for
it.
Foxy.
It's to take me to my new base.
So you made a boat with
Yeah.
a stowaway on it.
No,
But it's your fault.
I
Yeah,
was.
you buy
it's
this
Foxy's
from?
fault. Punch him into the
I
water,
don't-
Chosen.
No, don't do it. Don't do it. I was just look. I've been. Do you know how hard it is building gluing this in survival? This is a nightmare. I've been doing it all day, and then the drown killed me again, and then I glued a bit more, and I was just done. The last piece, there's one more bit to glue, and I went downstairs, and there was a cardboard box talking to me, and it turned into a man.
that is one version of the story.
Wait, where did you? You didn't by chance use a schematic cannon, did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Oh my god! Did you check the schematic cannon before?
Oh my
Well,
god.
I give it a
You
quick check just to
schematic
make sure
cannon
I-
in a new
What-
person.
weirdly, guys, right? Actually, after I'd finished doing the schematic cannon, I broke the vault that was feeding it, and it was still full of all the items. So this is free, this boat.
Huh?
Yeah.
What?
It's a true story.
True story. Okay, interesting.
What?
Right.
What?
Sounds like a bit of a tangent.
Yeah. Well, what?
He's gone.
Oh.
Yeah, Foxy,
Yeah.
that's... You gotta
This
be
is
more
how
careful.
things like this happen. You know.
Well, so it's my fault, is it, that there's a man?
Well,
I
It's
mean,
fine.
it's on
I mean,
your
look,
show.
we have
It's your
punched this
ship.
poor man 3 times. He's not fought back.
I got punched.
I mean, do you want to
yeah,
stay?
maybe we should give him
You're
some
welcome
food,
to stay.
actually.
Yeah, I had intended to. I didn't actually know anybody was going to be here. Our scouts said this was uninhabited, and they're definitely
What scouts?
incorrect about that.
Wait, what?
Scouts
it-
from Rome, of course. Where are we?
It was uninhabited.
What is Rome?
Where are you from? Is what I'm wondering.
I thought this was... Yeah, there was not supposed to be anybody here. And you've got moving machinery, and... What is all of this?
Oh.
It's just create, mate. It's just
yeah,
create.
just create.
Yeah, it's just
Foxy,
great.
have you made a time
He
machine?
said it!
Not this time. No. That's normally I do that a little bit later on in the season.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Okay.
someone from... Okay, yeah.
No, that's fine. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
make yourself at home. I mean, to be fair, it was vacant land like 6 weeks ago, so...
Not on my
Yeah,
boat.
it is fair. They
Yeah.
might have just... The information might have just been a little delayed.
Mm.
Okay,
True.
well, that makes sense.
Or from
And
another
if I
era.
could, I mean, I'd love to be able to set up here and learn more about what you got going on over here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I could
sure. I
definitely
mean-
sell you some land.
No, oh,
Yeah.
No, don't,
don't
he's
listen to that
really
guy.
good at
Don't listen to
Chosen.
that guy.
What do you mean? I
Don't-
could
don't listen to
totally sell you.
That's right. He's gone.
You're gonna need somewhere to stay. Follow me, right? Let's get off this
Wait,
boat.
wait. But the land.
How
No.
Oh no, he's got his mask
The
on.
land. Come on, man. You sure? It's I mean,
Come
prime
this
real
way,
estate.
Legion.
Prime real
We'll
estate.
protect you from him. We'll protect you. Go that way. Follow Stam. You're less likely
Yep,
to get
follow me.
sold something that isn't theirs
Well,
to
I
sell.
mean,
Now, I tell you what, that was absolutely unexpected. I was not prepared for a new visitor, a new server mate. I mean, Legion V, what an addition. And by the way, be sure to follow him if you haven't already. Be sure to check out his channel. I'll have it definitely linked down in the description below. Of course, with all of the other SMP members, so definitely grab their attention by giving them a good old subscribe. Now, of course, as the sun is setting, don't forget to subscribe to me as well if you haven't already. And hopefully you enjoyed this dirt generation farm. I plan on doing a lot more with this dirt. There's going to be a lot of things we can make, including more coarse dirt. So we can generate coarse dirt from this. We can generate all kinds of other dirt variants from this as well. And I look forward to setting all of that up inside of our dirt factory. So if that's something you're interested in seeing, be sure, like I said, to click that subscribe button, give this video a good thumbs up, and comment down below what dirt type is your favorite. And of course, also, don't forget to join my Discord, where you can download schematics for all kinds of fun stuff, including this schematic right here, the Dirt Generator 9000. Yes, I'm going to have this over on my Discord. And speaking of Discord, it is now time to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that huge thanks is going to go out to none other than Volcano Sheep. Thank you so much for your amazing support and choosing to support me over on the Discord by becoming a Discord premium member and supporting me in one of the best ways possible. Thank you so very much. Guys, I look forward to expanding on the dirt production with you guys very soon. So I hope to see you in the next one. Until then, as always, thanks for watching.